So for our Merck business analysis project, we will go over executive summary, market analysis, organization management, operations management, marketing and sales, and finally end with strategic recommendations. So a brief executive summary, Merck is a global healthcare corporation that was founded in 1891 by George Merck. It's registered primarily under NAICS code 325412, which is pharmaceutical preparation manufacturing. Its target market is patients, both humans and animals, who need pharmaceutical products or drugs to improve their lives. The macro demand curve for pharmaceutical products is steep, which means that it's an inelastic demand for pharmaceutical drugs. I'll touch upon it a little bit on the next slide. And then lastly, competition in pharmaceutical industry is intense. We will go over the SWOT analysis on slide 5. So as mentioned in the previous slide, here's the pharmaceutical demand curve for drugs. As you can see, it's pretty steep, meaning this is an inelastic demand curve. So as the price goes up, the decline in demand is not as much. So people are going to buy drugs regardless of the price because there's a need in the community to treat diseases.
On the slide, you'll see the SWOT analysis for Merck. One of the biggest strengths that Merck has is that they are the leader in animal pharmaceuticals. One of the weaknesses that they have is that they also do not have a large product diversity. They don't carry a lot of over-the-counter medications. One of the opportunities that Merck has is that they can continue to advance in the medical technology area by continuing to better this research that they have. One of the threats that Merck faces is a threat of cyber attacks against their database. One of the biggest competitive advantages that Merck has against other companies is that they are currently working with the World Health Organization in Congo to help fight the Ebola disease. They have currently developed an Ebola vaccine to help fight and prevent this disease that is going on. It is currently not FDA approved, but they have special permission to be able to use this vaccine to help fight the outbreak that is going on there. Merck has several competitors. Some of those most notable ones would be Johnson & Johnson and Pfizer. Johnson & Johnson's most notable products would be Aveeno and Benadryl. They also develop medical devices. Pfizer's most notable products would be Advil and Centrum. They also deal with prescriptions as well. They also have a program that's called Health for All, which helps deliver medical aid to the underprivileged in third world countries. Looking at Porter's 5 forces, we can see there are several high and low areas in this industry. It is low for the threat of entrance because it is expensive for people to make a profit. The threat of substitutes is high because there are lots of ways to make generic products. Bargaining customers for customers is low because unfortunately customers don't have much of a choice as to how much these medications will cost. But the bargaining powers for suppliers can be high because they have several people that they can bargain with to get their supplies to the companies. Competitive rivalry is also high because there are several pharmaceutical companies in the industry trying to produce the same, if not more, advanced products than each other.
Merck operates in more than 140 countries, and that includes Latin America, the Middle East, Africa, Eastern Europe, and Asia Pacific. Merck's operations is controlled and governed by the CEO, who is also the chairman, and the board of directors, with a total of 9 individuals who report to the CEO. Merck has an effective corporate governance structure, and a good corporate governance benefits Merck's customers and shareholders. It's essential to their long-term business success. As far as their manufacturing is concerned, they like to make sure they have reduced costs, increased flexibility on manufacturing, great quality when it comes to their products, and improved efficiency on a firm-wide basis.
Organizational management, it is the organized group of people who work together in an organized way for common objective and deploy authorities and responsibilities. Leadership, this is what Merck believes in with a good corporate governance, benefits for customers and stakeholders. Kenneth C. Fraser is the chairman of the board and the chief executive officer and the director for Merck. He not only believes in the leadership, but also in the teaching and motivating under the great supervision. The executive committee includes the 11 members with the different portfolios and these different units range from the manufacturing, finance, human resource, marketing, public policy, animal health, and population health. Likewise, the company board of directors and advisors are composed of 11 members, of which only 36% are represented by females. This also represents the organizational culture and takes into the account of the consideration under the gender balance, which demonstrate a marked gender imbalancement in the company as well as in the executive committees.
Merck strategic management process follows its defined principle: people, performance, and technology. Speaking of the decision making, it assumed there could be a mixed decision making prevailing in the organization, which can go from centralized to decentralized. Cost cutting strategy by Merck. Merck this year planned to cut down jobs and shut down up to 1.2 billion manufacturing plant, which involved the restructuring. Acquisition and merging. Merck managed to avoid any merger with the large drug companies, which can contradict its growth philosophy, and Merck management gave the preference to organic growth and increased the R&D. Change management. Change management role plays a drastic role and which affects the employee size to suit the particular style of working. A strategy change, the company reduced certain areas of operation and focus on the areas of the core competencies, which specific projects which could lead to the profitable ventures. Increase in the work and the workflow. If the manual work can be done by machine, it's much better and the cost efficient.
Regarding marketing and sales, Merck has more than 90 generic and patented products cover many types of disease. Merck also has some blockbuster products like Keytruda, Genovia, and many vaccines. Merck also provides rebates and discounts to the customers because the large portion of revenue from patented drugs. Merck emphasizes on research and development. Merck is also one of the top global players in the industry. More than half of its revenue comes from international market. Based on pharmaceutical segment revenue in 2018, Merck is ranked number 5 globally and number 3 in the US. Another top 2 US-based companies are Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson. The performance comparison among 3 US-based companies shows for some profitability parameters like return on sale, return on equity, and return on assets, there are not much difference among 3 companies, but Merck's net profit margin is smaller than Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson, and Merck did much better in return to shareholders. There are some trends that being influence marketing and sales. First is the patent expiration. By 2023, 8 patents in Merck will be expired. Another trend is the prevalence of disease, especially chronic disease such as cardiovascular disease and cancer are in a rising trend. Another trend is the innovation of biotherapeutics, such as cell-based therapy, immunotherapy, this kind of precision and personalized therapy, and people's health awareness is increasing, and the advancement of technology also can influence how Merck's way to do marketing and how the sale and marketing gonna be. The tax reform and the government regulation also can influence the marketing and sales. FDA has been working on lifting the barriers for generic drugs, so the competition between generic drug and patented drug are gonna increase.
So we recommend 6 strategies for Merck to improve its growth and revenue. These are expanding its product pipeline, investing in pharmacogenomics and clinical trials, mergers and acquisitions, restructuring research and development department, medical technology advancement, and target-oriented marketing strategies. So first, expanding its product pipeline. Merck is heavily invested in oncology products, which is a good strategy since there's a big need in the community for that. However, it can improve its revenue if it invests in anti-infectives, especially gram-negative organisms because they're harder to treat and they also develop resistance quickly. Biosimilar is another area. They're similar to generics, but of large biologics. So investing in this would be a big benefit as well as over-the-counter medications such as your common cough and flu meds, sleep aids, as well as headache medications. Investing in genomics is another strategy. Pharmacogenomics is currently not really used when developing drugs in clinical trials, but this is important because drug response for an individual is influenced by genetic variation. So it's different for me versus you versus someone else. So incorporating this in clinical trials can help reduce toxicity and increase efficacy versus what currently companies do is wait on post-marketing trials to find data that may hurt the company if they need to withdraw the drug from the market. The third strategy is mergers and acquisitions. So acquiring large biotech companies such as AstraZeneca can help complement its oncology dominance as well as gain access into different areas such as diabetes. So for example, AstraZeneca has two big oncology agents, Imfinzi and Lynparza. In addition, it has a robust product pipeline for diabetes that Merck can get access to. Another strategy is also acquiring niche companies that have specific target treatment for rare diseases such as cystic fibrosis. So it can focus on making products just for these. Restructuring the R&D department is a big strategy as well. So targeting drugs that generate more profits. So currently Merck does have a big target in terms of Keytruda. It does have, it's pursuing additional indications for that, but also in addition to that, maybe look at combination of drugs. So maybe drugs that have different mechanisms that can enhance efficacy in reducing side effects. For example, if you can come up with a drug that can treat both lung cancer and colon cancer because they target the same receptors, then you'll have that added efficacy, but also potentially reduce side effects. Medical technology advancement is also another strategy that we're recommending. Merck currently has operations in over 100 countries. So virtual communication that can help interact with patients, caregivers, suppliers, providers, distributors all over the region or all over the country and outside the country without any region limits can help. Data integration is also another big benefit. So for example, if Merck can get real access to patient data from providers in hospitals, that then it can help really analyze how its product is being used, as well as help with access if patients have trouble getting the medication or they can afford to pay for it. In addition to that, they can also provide education if they have any questions about it. And finally, target-oriented marketing strategies is important. So really looking to the culture and the local region to see what the prevalence of diseases. So for example, China and India may have different diseases compared to the United States. Africa, we know Ebola is a big issue there, so Merck has Ebola vaccine that's helping them. But to really focus on those regions to improve its global market in targeting cancers or other diseases such as cardiovascular diseases to help with that.